In the village of Tund, everyone knew the giant baobab tree that stood at the edge of the village. Its branches stretched wide like the arms of an old friend, and its trunk was so thick that even 10 grown men could not wrap their arms around it. The tree had been there for as long as anyone could remember, and the elders said it was as old as the village itself. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with shades of orange and pink, Kofi sat by the tree with his little sister, Amma. They often played there after their chores, making up stories about the tree's long branches and imagining they were the arms of a giant who protected their village. But that evening something felt different. The wind was still and the air felt heavy. Kofi noticed that the leaves of the baobab seemed to shiver even though there was no breeze. Amma looked up at her brother, her big brown eyes filled with worry. "Kofi, did you hear that?" she whispered, clutching his arm. Kofi frowned. He had heard it too, a soft whispering like the sound of many voices speaking all at once, but very, very quietly. He strained his ears, trying to make out the words, but they were too faint. "Maybe it's just the wind," he said, but he knew it wasn't true. The whispers were coming from the tree. Amma leaned closer to the tree trunk. "It's like the tree is talking," she said, her voice trembling. Kofi pulled her back gently. "We should go home," he said. "Mama will worry if we're late." They hurried back to their small mud brick house. But Kofi couldn't stop thinking about the whispers. That night, as he lay in bed, he dreamed of the baobab tree. In his dream, the tree's branches reached down like fingers, and its trunk opened up like a mouth, whispering secrets only he could hear. The next morning, Kofi woke up feeling uneasy. He decided to visit the tree again, but this time he would go alone. Amma was still asleep, and he didn't want to scare her more. He tiptoed out of the house and made his way to the edge of the village. The baobab stood tall, its shadow stretching long in the morning light as Kofi approached. He heard the whispers again, clearer this time. He could make out words now, but they didn't make sense. "Find me, listen, save her," the tree seemed to say. Kofi's heart pounded in his chest. Save her? Who needed saving? Suddenly, a voice called out behind him. "Kofi!" It was Amma, running toward him, her face pale and frightened. "Mama can't find her necklace," she cried. "The one with the shiny stone. She says it's very important." Kofi turned back to the tree. The whispers were louder now, almost urgent. "Find me, listen, save her." He felt a shiver run down his spine. Could the tree be trying to tell him something about Mama's necklace? And what did it mean by save her? He took a deep breath. "Amma, go back to Mama. I'll look for the necklace," he said. Amma nodded and ran back to their house, leaving Kofi alone with the tree. He closed his eyes and listened carefully to the whispers. This time he understood. "Under the roots," the tree whispered. "Under the roots." Kofi knelt down and began to dig with his hands at the base of the tree. The earth was soft, and it didn't take long before his fingers brushed against something hard. He pulled it out, and there it was, Mama's necklace, the one with the shiny stone. He held it up, and the whispers stopped. Kofi's heart raced. How had the tree known where the necklace was? Why had it spoken to him? He looked up at the baobab, feeling a mix of fear and wonder. What else did this old tree know? But as he stood there, the ground began to shake. Kofi stumbled back, eyes wide with fear. The tree's roots started to move, pulling themselves out of the ground like long fingers stretching toward him. The whispers began again, louder this time, filling his ears until he thought he might scream. And then, just as quickly as it had started, the shaking stopped. The roots returned to their place, and the whispers faded to a soft murmur. Kofi stood there, his heart pounding, clutching the necklace tightly in his hand. He knew one thing for sure. The baobab was not just any tree. It was alive, and it had something to say. He turned and ran back to the village, his mind racing with questions. What did the tree want from him? And who did it mean when it said, "Save her"? Was it talking about Alma or someone else? He had to find out. He had to listen to the whispers. But little did Kofi know, the whispers had only just begun, and the secrets of the baobab were far darker than he could ever imagine.